She said we should pause the romance and stay friends. After nearly 3 years together, I said sure. Then I treated her exactly like I treat all my other friends, with respect, distance and boundaries. She learned what just friends really meant when I stopped acting like a boyfriend and started living like a single adult who owed her nothing. And when I eventually went on a date with her closest friend, she finally understood that friends don't get boyfriend privileges. I'm 29, she's 27. I'll call her Nina. We met at a co-worker's birthday dinner. Cheap tacos, happy hour margaritas, the kind of loud Thursday where the music is too high and everyone's shouting the same story. She laughed at my jokes. I offered her my jacket when the patio breeze kicked up. And we missed our trains. On purpose. Within 6 months, her toothbrush was in my bathroom. Within a year, she had a drawer. By year 2, we were splitting rent. She picked the couch. I built the bookshelves. We were talking about rescuing a dog, comparing baby names we swore were just hypotheticals, joking about whose parents would cry harder at the wedding. Then, on a perfectly ordinary Monday, the air felt wrong when I walked in the door. The living room was too neat. Her favourite sweater wasn't on the armrest. The basil plant she overwatered to death had finally been tossed. Nina was at the table with a cup of tea she didn't drink when she was nervous. There was a small overnight bag by her chair. "Can we talk?" she said, and my stomach hit the floor. I knew the script. I've heard friends tell it. "I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I need space. I need to figure out who I am outside of us." She did not cry. She did not ask what I felt. She said she wanted to stay friends because we have something special. And she already had a place to crash. Zoe's, her closest friend. She said we were adults. We could be reasonable and transitional. She said we'd handle the lease later, together like friends. I watched the steam die in her untouched tea and felt a cool, clinical switch flip in the back of my head. Okay, friends. I can do friends. "Sure," I said. "Let's be friends." Relief washed over her face like I'd signed a contract she'd drafted in private. She hugged me like a cousin at Thanksgiving. She picked up the overnight bag, said she'd text me tomorrow, and left before the tea turned cold. At 7:14 the next morning. "Hey! Hope you slept okay. Can you drop my office badge at Zoe's before noon? I forgot it." "Morning," I replied. "I'll leave it at your building's front desk around 5 p.m. Works better for me." I really need it earlier. I'm tied up. 5 friends don't sprint across town to solve each other's morning emergencies. Friends compromise. She didn't like learning that rule from me. Saturday, she texted, "Brunch? We always go to Delancey's." "That was a couple of thing," I typed. "I'm skipping today. Have fun 2 dots, then 3, then nothing." On Tuesday, the friendship cracked. I got home to a damp towel on the rack, cabinet doors open, a half-eaten yogurt, her shampoo in the shower like a ghost of last week, a sticky note on the counter. Grabbed a few things. "Hope that's okay." "Nina," I texted, "please return your key. We can schedule a time for pickups." "What? Why are you being like this? Like friends?" "My friends don't have keys to my place." "We live together, Alex." Past tense. "We can set a window Saturday 2 to 4 p.m. I'll be here." She showed up Friday unannounced, jiggled the handle, and then texted, "You changed the locks." I rekeyed. "Saturday 2 to 4 still works. I'll have boxes. You're punishing me for wanting to stay friends." "No, I'm setting boundaries so we can be friends." Her replies stacked like a poker hand. Guilt, nostalgia, anger, bargaining. But none of it changed Saturday. She arrived 2 minutes early, walked like the apartment was a museum of her previous life. I'd packed her things cleanly. Clothes, books, mug with a chip on the lip she swore gave it character. She cried. I didn't. I offered water. She refused. She asked if we could hang out like normal after this. And I said no. Friends schedule hangouts. Friends don't pretend nothing changed. The following week, our group chat, me, Nina, Zoe, and 4 others, planned a board game night at our friend Jonah's place. I said I'd go. Nina wrote that she would too, with someone. Cool. I ironed a shirt, brought chips, and promised myself I wouldn't be weird. Nina showed up with a guy in a vintage denim jacket who introduced himself as Evan and apologised for being bad at games. Nina laughed too loudly, kept touching his shoulder, narrating inside jokes from a life we didn't share anymore. I shook his hand and meant it. Zoe sat across from me. eyes bright like she was watching a movie, and trying not to spoil the twist. She asked about my new project at work. I told her. She laughed at a story about my boss confusing 2 different Alexes on Slack and accidentally granting me access to a folder full of memes. Her hand brushed my wrist when she reached for pretzels, and if Nina noticed, she said nothing then. In the kitchen, Nina cornered me by the sink. "You're not jealous?" she asked. "Of what?" "Of me and Evan." "Why would I be? We're friends. It's just, you don't seem upset." "I was upset last Monday," I said softly. "Tonight I'm playing games with friends." She opened and closed her mouth like a fish trying to speak philosophy. Friends don't get jealous the same way partners do. She didn't like that math. 2 days later, Zoe texted me. Just me. "Hey, random question. Have you ever been to the open mic at Copper House?" Thinking of going Saturday, I stared at the message longer than necessary. Zoe had been Nina's person for years. Movie nights, road trips, their private language of eye rolls. I typed, erased, typed again. "I haven't," I wrote. "Could be fun." "Funny coincidence," she sent. "I've got 2 tickets." "Is this a coincidence?" I asked. "Not entirely," she replied. "If you're not comfortable, say no. No games." I could feel the difference in those 2 words. No games. Saturday at 6:30, I put on a jacket I wear when I want to look like I didn't try too hard. My phone buzzed. 15 missed calls. Nina. Text after text. "You can't go out with Zoe. That's messed up. Girl code. You're doing this to hurt me." Answer. I put the phone on Do Not Disturb and went out. The open mic was a parade of near misses and one-liners that didn't land. And Zoe and I loved every awkward second. She ordered ginger ale, I ordered seltzer, we shared fries. And for the first time in a long time, I felt that electric quiet you get with someone who isn't performing for you, just being with you. We didn't talk about Nina until after the last comic, when we were 2 blocks from Copper House and the night had a breeze. "We should address the elephant," Zoe said. "We should," I agreed. "She asked me not to see you." "She asked me not to see you too." "What do you want?" she asked. "I want to be honest," I said. "I'm interested. I also don't want to be a weapon in someone else's story." Zoe's jaw tightened. "I won't be anyone's prop. If this is a date, it's a date because we chose it. If it's not, I'll go home happy I ate good fries." "It's a date," I said, and we kissed by the mural of a fox that looks bored no matter the angle. Sunday at 6:11 a.m, a pounding on my door, I answered in sleep hair and old sweats. Nina stood there in yesterday's makeup with a fury that made her look small. "You kissed her," she said. "I did. She's my best friend. And I'm not your boyfriend. You're doing this to hurt me." "I'm doing this to live my life." She tried to push past me. I blocked the door with a hand on the frame. "Schedule a time if you need more from the apartment," I said. "I won't let you in like this." "You're cruel," she spat. "I'm consistent," I said. "You wanted friends. This is friendship." For the next 2 weeks, she campaigned like an election was coming, and my heart was a swing state. She called mutual friends. She said I'd stolen Zoe. She said I was weaponizing boundaries. She messaged my sister on Instagram. She called my office pretending to be listed as my emergency contact and told HR I was having a mental health crisis, which got me an earnest meeting with my manager, who brought tissues and a pamphlet. "Ex-girlfriend," I told him. "No crisis." "Document everything," he advised, and I did. Zoe and I didn't post. We didn't flirt in the group chat. We met for coffee on a Wednesday like adults who can sit with their choices. She told me Nina had said out loud, in Zoe's kitchen, that keeping me as a friend was a safety net, in case dating didn't pan out. Zoe said that's when she realised Nina didn't want me as a person, just as a guarantee. "Do you still want this?" I asked her. "Yes," she said simply. "Do you?" "Yes." Update 1. Nina tried Grace for 48 hours, then she tried intimidation. When Grace didn't trap me and intimidation didn't scare me, she tried nostalgia. She sent me a photo of that weekend we built the bookshelf wrong and laughed until we lay on the floor surrounded by Allen wrenches, captioned "Remember when we were a team?" I didn't reply. She showed up at my building again. The front desk called me like a war siren. I told them not to let her up. She cried to the concierge. She left a letter in my mailbox written like a closing argument. I was unkind. I was abrupt. I didn't care about her growth. She used the word growth 6 times. I recycled the letter. I'm not proud of the small satisfaction I felt hearing the thunk. Zoe told me Nina had declared girl code, as if it were a municipal law, and half our friends had shrugged. The other half looked at me like I had switched jerseys mid-season. Jonah called to ask if I was sure. I told him I was. He said okay, then asked if I could still bring chips to game night because apparently you choose the good ones. I brought chips. Zoe brought guac. Nina didn't come. Update 2, Nina tried romance with someone else. A rock climber with forearms like rope. A musician who did not own a case for his guitar because instruments need to breathe. A banker who said work hard, play hard, and meant only the first half. She posted mirror selfies that said new era and self-love, and photos of sunsets with captions about healing that somehow tagged Zoe and me without tagging us. When it didn't sting me, she accelerated. She texted at 1:13 a.m. We need to talk. I'm late. For what? I asked. Don't be dense. I'm pregnant. Then make a doctor's appointment, I replied. If you think it could be mine, we'll handle it. We haven't slept together in almost 2 months, so if I'm the father, time will tell. If not, time will also tell. You're accusing me of lying. I'm doing math. She went silent. The next afternoon. False alarm. No apology, just a tidy pivot like the story was a sweater she put on and took off again. Update 3. Money. It always comes to money. When we moved in together, I added her line to my phone plan because the family plan was cheaper. She never left, and I never thought to remove it. After she left, I did. She got a new number. Her mum called me from a blocked ID to say I was petty. I said I was done. I cancelled the streaming services she used my login for. I changed my Netflix password. 2 minutes later, I got a notification that someone in another neighbourhood was trying to sign in. I ignored it. Friends pay for their own Netflix. That's the rule. She told people I was vindictive. That I took joy in hurting her. I took joy in grocery shopping alone at 10 p.m. and buying the fancy mustard without consulting a shared budget spreadsheet. I took joy in silence. I took joy in how Zoe asked direct questions and listened to the answers. We planned a weekend away to a coastal town 2 hours up the highway, the one with a bookshop that looks like a lighthouse and chowder that tastes like your hands will never be warm again. I told no one but Jonah because he agreed to water my spider plant that is somehow unkillable, and also my personality. Nina found out anyway. She sent a paragraph that began with wow and ended with wow. She said I was rewriting our memories. I typed, "They're my memories too," and deleted it. I sent nothing and booked a room with a view. Update 4. The scene at Zoe's office. Zoe works reception at a physical therapy clinic 2 days a week while she finishes her master's. Nina stormed in between appointments and asked loudly for her friend, who did not want to see her. Security escorted Nina out, while a woman on crutches stared like she'd stumbled into a soap opera. The clinic owner told Zoe to file a report. Zoe did. A police officer called Nina for a warning. Nina called me 15 times. I didn't pick up. The officer called me next. "Do you want to add anything?" he asked. "No," I said. "I want it to stop." "Then don't talk to her," he said. "You're doing the right thing." Final update. It stopped, not all at once. First the calls slowed, then the texts shifted from attack to apology, to aphorisms about letting go and trusting the universe. She sent me a long email that read like a closing statement, and a diary entry got married. She said I weaponized semantics and turned friendship into a weapon. She said Zoe betrayed her. She said the loss unraveled her sense of self. I read it exactly once, took one deep breath and archived it. A month later, I heard from a mutual friend that Nina moved back in with her parents across town. She's working mornings at a bakery and evenings at a bookstore. She's in therapy, real therapy, not one of those Instagram accounts where someone in a linen jumpsuit calls themselves a soul curator. I hope it helps. I mean that without irony. Here's what I learned. When someone ends the relationship and says they want to stay friends, believe them. Believe the part where romance is over. Believe the part where you're allowed to step away. Then actually act like a friend, which means you do not give them the access, immediacy and intimacy reserved for partners. You set boundaries. You enforce them. You take your name off the phone plan and your password off their devices and your heart out of their daily schedule. If they wanted boyfriend privileges, they should have kept the boyfriend. And if your life moves forward, let it. Don't sabotage good because you're scared of bad optics. Don't turn yourself into a prop in someone else's script about growth and eras and whatever adjective people use when they're trying to make a breakup sound like a TED talk. If a new person shows up who is kind and clear and says no games, believe them too. Choose the simple thing that is hard to do. Live your life honestly. Nina wanted an exit and a tether. She wanted to leave without losing. She wanted me pliable and present, ready to console her after bad dates and carry boxes when the new place had stairs. When I accepted the first part and refused the second, her plan collapsed. That collapse looked like anger, then bargaining, then storming an office lobby, then silence. It could have gone another way if we had wanted the same thing. We didn't. The cruelest thing I did, if you ask her, was exactly what she asked me to do. I treated her like a friend, not a safety net, not a backup plan, not a guaranteed yes, just a friend. And when it turned out she didn't want that kind of friendship, we stopped being anything at all. That's not tragedy, that's gravity. Things fall back to where they belong when you stop holding them up. I will always remember the good, the basil plant we failed to keep alive, the bookshelf we assembled wrong and then right, the way she danced while brushing her teeth. But remembering is not returning. We are not who we were on that patio the night of the tacos. And that's okay. We don't have to be enemies to be strangers. If you're reading this because someone told you, let's just be friends, and you're wondering how to do that without ripping yourself in half, here's my list. Change the locks, change the passwords, change the language you use for yourself from ours to mine. Schedule pickups, be polite, be boring. Don't perform. Tell the truth. Say no more than you used to. Say yes to the invitation that scares you because it's honest. Bring chips to game night. Go to the open mic. Kiss the person who says, clearly, no games. Let the rest collapse without you.